welcome back to the Woodward Sports Network. I almost said YouTube Network, but it is Woodward Sports Network. It is Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. We appreciate every single one of you guys that are locked in with us here tonight. Make sure you guys hit that like button for us. Let's get over to 75 likes by the end of this next segment.
I would really like that.
Would really like that. That was a pun.
Please.
A dad joke.
Oh.
Yeah, see what I did there?
You know me better than I know myself
I'm starting to learn a little bit about you here, Broder. We're learning. All right, let's do it. Dan Campbell versus Brandon Staley. Broder, I put down, this is actually an interesting question that I kind of want to pose here. You're going into this game, and it's two pretty well known. Obviously, all of your coach in the NFL is well known. But Dan Campbell, they're kind of opposite directions right now in their career, in their path. Dan Campbell taking the Lions to kind of somewhere they haven't been in 40 years. And kind of right now, halfway through the year, he's trying to take that next step forward and prove that, hey, we have a team that can go win a Super Bowl. And then Brandon Staley's kind of on the other side, fighting for his job. Every single loss and win is going to count towards his resume at the end of the year, whether or not he gets fired. I know last week you actually mentioned if they would have lost that Monday night game the other night, you think that if the Lions win, that he would have gotten fired after the Lions game, which they ended up winning. So I think it saved him at least a couple more games. My question is, and in the chat here, and Jalen, can we throw a poll up with this one as well? My question, though, is it more important for Dan Campbell or Brandon Staley to get a win here on Sunday? Because Dan Campbell is sitting there not fighting for his life or anything, but they're out here. He has something to prove that he wants to prove. Like, if he loses, what happens again on Monday in the media? Everyone's going to go at Dan Campbell and then the Detroit Lions saying they're frauds, right? And then on the other side, Brandon Staley, if they lose, guess what's going to happen? Brandon Staley should be out. Brandon Staley should be out. That's going to be that's going to be the conversation. That was kind of what I wanted to pose was, Broder, who do you think has the most pressure on them to win this game? Who is it more important to win? I already have my answer here. I put it down. So I'll let you go first here, and I'll just react to that, and then I'll get you guys mine.
That's a great question. Like, a little more thought-provoking than I expected.
Booner question of the day.
Yeah. I do think it's Brandon Staley. Both from a season standpoint and a job security standpoint, I think that he needs as much momentum to keep his job as possible. But also, for their season to stay alive, their schedule isn't so hard moving forward. They got a couple layups. They got the Packers, they got the Patriots, the Broncos twice, the Raiders. They do play the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens, so that's tough. So they need this win. If they don't get it, I think that moves them a game or two under 500. Yeah. It's an issue for them. So I think it's more important for Brandon Staley. I think it's an important game just in the grand scheme of things for Dan Campbell to go to LA and beat the Chargers. But I don't think this game means as much to the season and to the grand scheme of things to Dan Campbell this year. So I'm gonna go with Brandon Staley.
All right, I might then in that case. We did throw the poll in there, so make sure you guys vote. There's already 21 votes. Dan Campbell does have 52% of the votes.
I'm interested to hear the other side because it's not like it's.
I'm on the other side.
You think it's more important for Danny Campbell?
And my reasoning behind that, I think this game is extremely important for Dan Campbell to win. And the reason behind it, well, not more important. I just think it's more than Brandon Staley because, Broder, to be quite frank, Brandon Staley is getting fired no matter what at the end of the year.
You think so?
I think he is done. I don't know what he could do. There's no chance they go win a Super Bowl. No chance they go make a playoff run. They've struggled. They're 4-4 right now. I think the Lions win this game, and they're at 4-5 heading into the last 8 games of the year. I just think with Dan he is the leader right now for Coach of the Year.
Yes.
He has taken this Detroit Lions organization and team somewhere like in the last 30, 40 years. We have not been there and came close to winning a division, or maybe once or twice. But with Dan, it's what happened the last playoff caliber team that we played, the Ravens.
Blown out. This is kind of that next. I know they're only 4-4, but it's still one of those teams that has a ton of talent, and people are like, we're gonna base you guys off this game here. This is gonna be one of your guys' stepping stones. I think Dan has to go. You have to go find a way to win this game. You only have a limited number of games left in this year where it's teams that probably could be in the playoffs. You don't have a lot of them left. You have the Chargers, Saints, Cowboys. That's probably, and maybe the Vikings if they sneak in a wild card. That's it.
Every single one of those games to me is going to matter, especially after 2 weeks ago you lost by 30 to the Raiders. I think it's like, all right, come on, Dan, like go win the game that go win a game that's supposed to be you're only a 2 or 3 point favorite, or if you're an underdog, go win one of those games because he's taking care of business on all these other games, Broder. This is the one where it's like, all right, Dan, you have to go get this one.
Yeah.
Is that a bad sign?
No, not at all. There's a really good explanation. You were selling me last night. You're selling me again. I'm still thinking it's Staley, but there's good comments in the chat too. Let me find some of these. But to see both sides, it seems split. Actually, let me check this poll. Yeah, literally 50-50.
50-50. I think you could go any way, but I'm looking at it as, hey, Brandon Staley's going to get fired no matter what. There's like, he's going to lose some more games. Like, there's nothing that's shown. Like, this has been a thing year after year after year. Kellen Moore might get that job. We're going to talk about Ben Johnson in a couple segments. I'm going Dan Campbell with this one. I think you have to go out there and get this win.
How bad do you think, if you were the Chargers GM, or actually the Chargers owner, you could just flip-flop coaching staffs? Can you imagine the Chargers with the Lions coaching staff? Get Herbert, Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, get Aaron Glenn on that defense.
So are you saying they have more talent than the Detroit Lions?
They do.
Okay.
They don't have the depth, though. They have the best. They have more high-end talent, and it's actually getting pretty close. And this is going to be involved in our Amon-Ra St. Brown conversation in terms of how some of the Lions are viewed. Justin Herbert is viewed as elite. He's viewed as one of the most talented quarterbacks. Khalil Mack, Bosa, number 45, Thule from USC, Derwin James and Asante Samuel. They got ballers. They don't have the depth of the Lions. Like, the Lions have very good. They got ballers, too. They got very good players.
I see,
and it barely drops off.
More guys up there, like Keenan, like those guys.
Yeah. I'll take the Lions roster, though.
Yeah, me too.
I will.
I like who we have right now. That's why I think they win Sunday. Jalen, Nick, what do you guys think here on this one? Who's more important, Dan Campbell or the win or Brandon Staley?
I think the win means more for Staley because his job is on the line, and Dan Campbell has the job security even if he loses this game. But with that being said, this is a massive prove-it game for Dan Campbell on the road against a tough opponent like you hit on, Boone. This is a number 1 seed defining game this Sunday, in my eyes, for the Detroit Lions.
100%.
It 100% is. And
interesting.
If they win this game, they have the fast track to the number 1 seed. The Phillies' schedule is brutal.
Right.
Going forward, they're going to pick up a couple losses at some point. If the Lions win this game, they have the fast track to the number 1 seed, and I 100%. Think they get it if they win this game.
Jalen?
I'm going to go with I'm going to take a little different route for you. I'm going to go 50-50.
Half and half?
Yeah, I got it, because I think it's valid. I think it's valid for both of them. You know what I mean? So I'll go with Brandon first, right? His job was in jeopardy the moment they lost that game. Who was it to? Was it Jacksonville? The 30-zip game and they were down in the playoffs or whatever?
Yes, Jacksonville.
So
came
his job was done after that. So this season, they're 4-4. For him, they need to get this big win because it'll be over 500. They can maybe, get a push, see if Herbert can, lead them finally. But I don't think if they lose this game, like, he's out. Like you said, I think he's done, off the rip. Kellen Moore is a great offensive mind coach and that, so I think he'll be there if that happens. And to Dan Campbell's perspective, we've lost 2 games to Pete Carroll, right? A well-renowned coach in college football and the NFL. We lost to John Harbaugh, right? A Super Bowl champion coach, well-minded coach. We've gotten out-coached some in a way, but we've kind of beaten ourselves up a little bit. So I'm not really worried about Dan Campbell losing as much because we've lost to great teams and great coaches. But to my defense, though, if we win this game, like Nick said, too, it's a straight shot. This is like the hardest game left, I think, on the schedule. You got, like he said, Phillies playing like, 5, powerhouse teams as we, see on TV. So I'm not worried about that. But I think for both of them, it's going to be a good game. And whoever wins, whoever can outcoach, obviously whoever can outcoach the other person is going to win. But I think it's a big game for both of the coaches. I know it's a little different route, but I had like a two-headed mindset on both of that.
And kind of to both of you guys' thing there too is if the Lions win this game, your route is insane to the 1 seed. If you rank the teams left, like the hardest teams left, number 1 the Cowboys, number 2 to me the Chargers.
Yes, easy.
So if you win this game, that's the second hardest game that you have because you're on the road versus the Chargers. You check off the second hardest game in your last 9 games.
Yeah.
You get that out of the way and win that game, and then in a couple weeks, your third hardest game versus the New Orleans Saints on the road. If you can check both of those off in the next few weeks,
the schedule gets more and more flaccid.
Yes, that 1 seed is starting to really look. It's starting to look beautiful.
It is.
I'll tell you what.
It is. By the way, a Shift God had a comp in the chat a little earlier for the Chargers. What do you think about this? Are they the Clippers of the NFL?
That's the Bills.
I like that,
Bills.
Jay. I like
Interesting.
that.
It's not even. And I'm biased too because like I've been with them boys for a minute. It's 100% the Bills. They've had
get
the
to the
coldest
ball.
team, best all-around team. Josh Allen was on the Madden cover. He's supposed to be this guy that's next to Mahomes. Stephon Diggs, Von Miller. You know, I can keep going if you want to, but I'm not. But you know, it's just like they've had the talent, and every year they freaking choke. So I'm sorry, I just got a little upset there, but they always choke, man.
I don't
Like,
hate that actually. The
that's
Bills
your upset?
being the Clippers, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, man. All right.